Hola amigos, hola amigas, welcome, bienvenido, croeso y salam, welcome to the channel, y'all. Today I've got quite a special vehicle in itself because this is the 60-year anniversary version from 1956 to 2016. And this car is the Rover P6. This one is the Rover P6 3500 VIP, and it's the anniversary limited edition 143 scale car. Now, this car doesn't have past memories as such. My father's sister's husband, my uncle, by marriage, had one of these in white for a while. I do remember it when I was very young, and it was really kind of, I think it was at the end of its life. It had had a hard life and it was a bit rusty and it did look in poor condition, but I do remember it. I never went in it. I've never driven inside one of these cars, passenger or otherwise, so I have no idea what the ride is like. But later in life, I really have a thing for British Leyland cars of the past, especially of the 70s and the 80s. There's something about them that, I don't know, I just really like the Allegros and all of them. Anyway, so this fascinated me. Also as well, in a very past episodes of Coronation Street back in the 80s, Annie Walker, who ran the Rover's Return, had one of these, and Fred drove it. Anyway, Fred, Betty, and the barmaid Bet went on a picnic, and that ended up in the river. Or in the lake. So I got good memories of these cars. Other people have done reviews on them and I absolutely love them, and I've learned so much about them from watching other people's videos on them, Furious Driving and so many other channels, that they absolutely fascinate me. So I was desperate to get one of these models to show you guys, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So let's take it out of the box. Okay. Let's carefully open the lid. Here we have the card for it. Anniversary limited edition, 60 years of Corgi collector card. Rover P6 3500 VIP Brasilia. This one was number 3,630 of 5,000 made. So that is fantastic. And we also have the Corgi catalogue card as well to send off. Inside the box, we have this fantastic little badge, little pin badge, and the car itself. Now, I've been into it and cleaned it, and I put the wing mirrors on it. It comes with these little guards on this so it won't damage them. Now I'm going to gingerly take the car out of the pack, and hopefully it won't roll off. There we go. Right, let's get in a bit closer and take a look at this magnificent vehicle. The Rover P6 series, named as the 2000, 2200 or 3500, depending on the engine displacement, was a saloon car produced by Rover and subsequently British Leyland from 1963 to 1977 in Solihull, West Midlands. Like I said, the manufacturers were first of all by the Rover Company Limited from 1963 to 67, by Leyland Motors from 1967 to 1968, and finally by British Leyland from 1968 to 1977. In that time, between 1963 and 1977, 322,302 vehicles were produced in the Solihull, New Zealand and South Africa. The designer of these vehicles was Spen King, Gordon Bashford and David Bach. The P6 was announced on October the 9th, 1963, just before the Earl's Court Motor Show. The vehicle was marketed first as the Rover 2000 and was a complete clean sheet design intended to appeal to a larger number of buyers than earlier models such as the P4 it replaced. Rover had identified a developing market between the standard 1.5-litre saloon car class, such as the Ford Consul, and the accepted 3-litre large saloon cars, typified by the Wolseley 699 and the Vauxhall Cresta. Younger and increasingly affluent professional workers and executives were seeking out cars that were superior to the normal 1.5-litre model in style, design and luxury, but which offered more modern driving dynamics than the big 3 class litre and lower purchase and running costs than sports saloons such as the Jaguar Mark II. Automotive technology had improved significantly in the mid to late 1950s, typified by the introduction of such cars as the Citroën DS and the Lancia Flavia in Europe and the Chevrolet Corvair in America. The replacement for the traditionally designed P4 would therefore be a smaller car with a 2-litre engine, although a gas turbine was envisioned as power unit in the future, utilising the latest design, engineering and styling, thus making the Rover one of the earliest examples of what would now be classified as an executive car. The P6 would be lower priced than the P4, and sales volumes were anticipated to be significantly higher. The more upmarket and conservative P5 was sold alongside the P6 until 1973. It was an all-new design featuring a unit construction base skeleton covered by bolt-on body panels. This meant that you could literally unbolt every panel and replace them. Some people could do it within 10 minutes. All variants carried the battery in the boot and had new exterior fixtures such as a plastic front air intake to replace the alloy version, new Bonic presence with V8 bips even for the 4-cylinder engine cars, and new rear lights. The interior of the 3.5 and the 2000 TC versions was updated with the new instrumentation and circular gauge and rotary switches. The old-style instrumentation with the linear speedometer and toggle switches continued onto the 2000 SC versions. The final years of the Rover P6 coincided with production problems at British Leyland. This was highlighted in August 1975 when Drive, the magazine of the British Automobile Association, awarded a trophy to the Rover 3.5 as the worst new car in England. It reported that over 3,500 purchased in 1974 had covered 6,000 miles, 9,600 kilometres. During its first 6 months, during which period it had consumed 3 engines, 2 gearboxes, 2 clutch housings and needed a complete new set of electrical cables. The car had spent 114 of its first 165 days in the workshop. The runner-up prize in this rogues gallery was awarded to Austin Allegro with 40 faults reported over 10 months, and a Triumph Stag came in third. The story was picked up and reported on in other publications, not only domestically but also in Germany, at the time Europe's largest national car market and an important target export market for the company. Further evidence of poor quality control on the 3.5 assembly line at the Solihull plant appeared in a report in Autocar magazine in October 1976. Surveying the experiences of company car fleet managers with the model, although the report also suggested, apparently wishing to appear even-handed, that at least part of the problem might have arisen from excessively optimistic expectations of the model. After a production run of almost 14 years, the last Rover P6 off the production line, registered VVC 700S, was built on the 19th of March 1977, when it was purchased out in favour of the Rover SD1. The SD1 was initially only available with a 3.5 V8 engine from its June 1976 launch, with the 2.3 and 2.6 cylinder units joining the range during 1977. This car was first sent in August 1977 to the Leyland Historic Vehicle Collection, then to Donington Park until 1980, when it was moved to Soham Park along with the rest of the collection, which became the British Motor Industry Heritage Trust Collection. It remained an exhibit at the Scion until 1990, when the collection moved to Studley Castle and went into storage until 1993. In 1993, the collection then moved to its new home, the British Motor Industry Heritage Trust site at Gaydon, now known as the Heritage Motor Centre. The VVC 700S was on display until 2003, when it sold at the Bonham sale of Rover-owned items. In 2006, VVC revisited Gaydon for the first time since the sale, and its original condition having never been restored. In 2006, VVC revisited Gaydon for the first time since the sale and is still in original condition, having never been restored. The car came out of the collection having only ever covered 12,300 miles. The last MOT expired in August 2010. The 3500 was introduced in April 1968, 1 year after the Rover company was purchased by Triumph's owner Leyland, and continued to be offered until 1977. The manufacturer asserted that the light metal V8 engine weighed the same as the four-cylinder unit of the Rover 2000, and the more powerful car's maximum speed of 114 miles per hour. The car competed on price and specifications. The glaring exception was the Jaguar 340, which was substantially quicker than the Rover 3500 and was advertised at a 15% lower manufacturer's recommended price. The Jaguar representing exceptional value as the run-out model to be replaced later in 1968 by the Jaguar XJ6. In comparison, the Rover 3500, auto-tested by Motor Magazine in the issue published on the 20th of April 1968, achieved a maximum speed of 117 miles per hour, 0 to 60 in 9.5 seconds, with a standing quarter mile in 17.6 seconds. It was necessary to modify the underbonnet space to squeeze the V8 engine into the P6 engine bay. The front suspension crossmember had to be relocated forward, while a more visible change was an extra air intake beneath the front bumper to accommodate the larger radiator. There was no longer space under the bonnet for the car's battery, which the 3500 retreated to a position on the right side of the boot. Nevertheless, the overall length and width of the body were unchanged when compared to the smaller engine original P6. Having invested heavily in the car's engine and running gear, the manufacturer left most other aspects of the car unchanged. However, the new Rover 35 could be readily distinguished from the 2000 thanks to various prominent V8 badges on the outside and beneath the radio. The 35 was also delivered with a black vinyl covering on the C-pillar, although this decoration later appeared also on the four-cylinder cars. A 3-speed Borg-Warner 35 automatic was the only transmission until the 1971 edition of a 4-speed manual 3500S model, fitted with a modified version of the gearbox used in the 2000 and 2200. The letter S did not denote sport. It was chosen because it stood for something specific on those cars, synchromesh. However, it is important to note that the 3500s were noticeably quicker than the automatic version of this car, with a 0 to 60 time of 9 seconds compared to 10.1 for the default. Moreover, due to the fuel-guzzling nature of automatic gearboxes of this era, the manual car's official cycle was 25 miles per gallon compared to the automatic's 22 miles per gallon. The Rover 35 was also assembled in Leyco in South Africa. A high compression version was added in 1971, with a high compression version of the V8 producing 184 horsepower. The P6 continued in South Africa assembly until being phased out during 1975. The SD1 arrived there in 1977. So there's my basic information about this absolutely amazing P6. If you go and follow other channels like Small Car, Big Car, Furious Driving, Hub Nuts, all the other channels that do car reviews, go and check them out because they have far more information and actual vehicles themselves for them to drive around and show you. So go and check them out. I'm just fascinated by this car because of how, well, unassumingly luxurious it was. I didn't realize it was so advanced for the time with the air suspension, and everyone says it's just like floating on a cloud. But there we go, guys. That is my quick video on this amazing Rover P6 3500 VIP. I hope you've enjoyed. This Corgi model is incredible. I absolutely love the details on it. It is fantastic. So I'll just leave you now with some parting shots, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.